Wow, do I ever look like sh**.
You started a fire somewhere deep in my mind. See the barbed wire, the place is grown all wild. 'Cause I don't know if it'll be enough, or if they really care. There's a still
One step closer to feeling clean, and I am so excited. Okay. Hold on. There's CRUZ. Beep. Itchy nose. Take two. Okay, this one's for everybody who's just starting this lifestyle. I've had the chance, because I've been in my van, it'll be going on 2 years this September. So I've had the chance to see what you guys are experiencing on your end. When I first started van life, I was kind of like obviously right in the same zone you guys were, but now that I've been in it a little longer and I've learned so much about this lifestyle, I'm really kind of starting to see things from your end, because questions arise and I'm like, huh, you're really asking me that question? Then, you know, when I stand back and take a look at it, I'm like, okay, this kind of makes sense why some people are struggling with different elements of this stuff. And I just wanted to give you my straight opinion. I'm a huge common sense guy. And I think a lot of people are way too focused on the high detailed stuff about starting van life instead of breaking it down to the simple fundamentals of what it is to change your life. Because really at the bottom line of all this stuff, that's what it's about. It's not about moving into a van and doing something. It's about changing the life that you have right now. It's because a lot of times when you're doing this stuff, you're tired of what's going on. You're tired of the day-to-day mundane. You want to change. You want something to completely rock your world. So jumping into van life is what you guys think is going to just shake it all up. It's going to help you get out of debt. It's going to help you be a little bit more traveled, I guess, if you want to say it that way. But I think people are so hyper-focused on some other elements of this life that they get so caught up in the fine details that it confuses them. It makes it harder. It makes it more expensive. They're like, well, Johnny Walker's got this, so I gotta have that. Or so-and-so's got this, well, I must need that. You know, look, your van life is your van life. If you want to live out of a cardboard box and another cardboard box and another cardboard box and a freaking piece of foam on the floor, then rock that lifestyle the way you want to rock that lifestyle. You don't need all that great big stuff. You don't need the batteries. You don't need the solar. You don't need like fridges and all this kind of stuff. You don't. Break it down to the bare bones and basics of what you need. Sure, if you got expendable cash, do all the fancy stuff. I didn't when I started, and if you haven't seen those beginning videos, please go. I started with a couple of plastic cabinets and a freaking bed. That's it, and a cooler. And I rocked it happy. That basic setup got me freaking debt-free. Thank you for that. But stop hyper-focusing on some of those things that just make this lifestyle so pricey. Because here's some things that I've learned. When it comes to, let's take batteries and solar, for example. I don't have solar on my roof. I do have a deep cycle battery, but please know this. Prior to me adding that one deep cycle battery to my van, I had zero power needs that I wasn't getting fixed on while I was driving. I had a little tiny $25 inverter that I plugged into my cigarette lighter, charged my laptop while I drove. I charged everything I needed in the first 6 months. I had no need for anything else until I added the deep cycle battery. Now that I had the deep cycle battery, well, now my power needs increased. So keep that in mind. Don't go hyper focused on that stuff in the beginning. Start it simple, start it basic, keep it affordable. Because I'm a big believer on get out in your van and live in it for a while first, even if it's taking it out for a month prior to getting into van life, and know what you need. Don't spend hefty money on these big fancy van builds that you're gonna end up changing later because you put something in the wrong place or you thought, I have to have a sink. Then you get into the van, you realize you've never used the sink for the past year, and that's valuable square footage that you just wasted. So keep these things in mind. I think too many people get discouraged about making changes in their life because they see Sally, I don't know, fancy van in the Sprinter, who's spent like 50 grand on her build and spent 50 grand on her van, and then has like 50 grand worth of sporting equipment on the top and lights and all this other stuff. And it's discouraging for the average human being when they look at van life going, holy crap, do I have to have that? Is that really needed in a part of my day? Don't follow. Please don't be a follower. Don't follow other people. Be a leader in your own life. You don't have to lead big groups of people, but be the leader in your life. Do things how you feel. Do things how you want to do them. You don't need that 12-volt, big, expensive, $1,000 fridge. You can do it with a freaking cooler. You can do it with a bag of ice in a garbage bag if you really freaking wanted to. Does this make sense? It's your van life, and do it your way. Because I started rock bottom and simple. My van build was so easy, and I know a lot of you guys came on my channel because of that simple how to build a stealth van in one day video. That's been the one that's gotten my channel the most growth. So you know what my van looked like from the beginning. But that's because I kept things simple. I didn't hyper focus on, like, even when I started, because when I jumped into the van, then I started looking at things. I started looking at solar, and I started looking at batteries, and just all sorts of other crazy things, and roof vents, and then putting windows in, and just stuff that was just didn't make sense to me. Because I was happy sleeping in the back of the box, big steel box in the back of my van, and I was happy. I didn't need anything else. Why? Because when I opened up the doors to my van, everything I needed was out here. And because it wasn't fancy at the beginning, I didn't care. I kept the doors of my van open, and I was so super proud of what I was doing. So super proud that I took the courage to just live my own life the way I want without care of what anybody else thought. And moving into a van always has that little thing for some people, like, oh, what are people gonna think about me? Who gives a crap what people think about you? Who cares? As long as you love you, who cares what so-and-so thinks when they walk by? Look at me, I'm standing talking to my phone in the middle of a parking lot. And I bet you if somebody walked in behind me and watched me flare my hands around and didn't see my phone, this guy's a loopty. Who cares? But I think people need to stop focusing on all of these tiny little details that aren't gonna make a difference once you start van life. I think the key now for everybody watching is to choose your vehicle. That's gonna be the one thing. Everything else comes second. So stop focusing on the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth, because it doesn't matter. That's down the line. Focus on the number one. The number one, well, two things. One, focus on you and do what's right for you. Make this decision for you. Two, start. Start by buying the damn van. That's gonna change the whole game. Once you got the van, everything you thought about is out the window. Guaranteed. So get the van. So that's the big decision you guys need to make today. What are you gonna get? How much money do you have? Because that's gonna be the money-making decision. If you have $5,000 to spend on a van, then see what you can get for $5 grand. Look at it this way. You don't have to start with your dream van. You don't. You don't have to start with your dream van, because chances are in a couple of years, your whole thing's gonna change a little bit anyway. So buy that $2,000, $3,000 van, whatever you can afford to get started, and upgrade your van when you can afford it. Look at it this way, and I made a video about this. If you have to pay 6 months more worth of $1,000 rent, that's $6,000 you would have saved if you would have moved into a van today. So could you imagine that? You imagine buying yourself a van, 1 year later, you saved all your rent money, you got $12,000 in the bank. Imagine what home you could buy at that point. So buy what gets you started. And I've seen some people live in some pretty small vans. I'm telling you, pretty small. Small, I don't think I could do it in a minivan, but I see dudes that are rocking it in those little ProMaster cities and loving their freaking life. They've made the most crazy, amazing home inside there that works for them. So get out there and go find some vans. Go find something you can afford and see what you can make happen. If you don't know if you could live in a minivan or not, go rent one for a day, spend the night in it and be like, whoa, this is too small. And then go rent a cargo van and find out. And go rent a box truck if that might be your thing. But that's the first step, guys. First step to starting van life, well, first 2 steps to starting van life is you. Getting the strength, getting the courage to just take over your world for you. And step 2 is find that van. And then from there, decide what you want to do. Then from there, worry about what you're going to do for a bed, what you're going to do for other things. Stop worrying about that stuff now, because I think all of this pressure you're putting on yourself about, okay, well, now I need solar. No, you don't. Whoever told you needed solar is wrong. You don't. Those are luxuries you can add later. Everybody's like, oh, you need these batteries. No, you don't. It's a luxury. Trust me, I know. I lived in my van for 6 months with nothing. Trust me, it's a luxury. It's a luxury that's just gonna make you get more and more and more stuff. That's the truth. So don't focus on those things, guys. Focus on the core of everything, the rock bottom core of why you are doing this. Why are you here? Why are you listening to me ramble now, probably 12 minutes into talking? Why are you still here? Think about that reason. And that's the core reason that you need to act on today. If you're unhappy, change it. If you don't like where your life is, change it. If you don't like your job, change it. If you don't like your condo or house or wherever you live, change it. Do whatever it is that's making you watch this video here and now. Change that first. That's the focusing on you part. You guys already know what's next. Craigslist, car lots, best friend's mom's van. I don't know. That's the next step. So please, guys, don't hyper focus on the technicalities of things, because the technicalities of things are just that. You know, I don't want you guys to get discouraged because I don't understand what a watt, kilowatt, milliwatt, kilowatt, wigawatt. You know what I'm saying at this point. Don't get confused by those things, because you can think about those things after you buy the van. And if you do, you own your van right now, then I guess maybe I should make another video for those who just bought the van and are about to make the plunge. So if you're new around here, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that little notification bell, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, see you later.